Did Jackie Kennedy badmouth the Queen? What really happened when Jackie Kennedy met Queen Elizabeth? Jackie Kennedy Onassis and Queen Elizabeth II never really got along. Both similar in age, one would think they'd find common ground, although that never happened. They weren't downright rude to each other, but they weren't thick as thieves either. The First Lady famously charmed France's President, Charles de Gaulle, but Britain's sovereign was another matter. Here's what didn't make the history books. In June 1961, President John F. Kennedy and his wife Jackie visited Buckingham Palace. It is barely 4 months since President Kennedy's inauguration. John F. Kennedy and Jackie were in London to attend the christening of Jackie's nephew on the heels of a very successful visit to France. JFK famously introduced himself as the man who accompanied Jackie to Paris because she received so much attention on the trip. Not exactly a banner first meeting as far as royal protocol's concerned. Although Queen Elizabeth II and Jackie only met in person in June of 1951, they had been corresponding previously. Queen Elizabeth II and Jackie Kennedy Onassis fought over the guest list. Jackie and Queen Elizabeth II didn't see eye to eye about the guest list for their unofficial dinner party. They had both put forward names for the guest list, but an issue arose when Jackie suggested inviting her sister, Princess Lee Radziwill, and her husband, Prince Stanislaw Radziwill, who had both been divorced. Traditionally, divorcees weren't invited to these types of events. One divorce back then was too many for the Queen and the monarchy, the Washington Post later reported of the guest list drama. The Queen objected. The First Lady objected to the objection. Mrs. Kennedy is still finding her feet. Jackie is unsure of herself. In public she smiles and waves. In private she bites her nails and chain smokes. She is prone to self-pity. She is overheard saying, "Oh Jack, I'm so sorry for you that I'm such a dud," to which Kennedy replies, "I love you as you are." Is each of them telling only half the truth? Socially she is an awkward mix of the gracious and the paranoid. At one moment she was misunderstood, frustrated and helpless. The next moment, without any warning, she was the royal, loyal First Lady to whom it was almost a duty to bow, to pay medieval obeisance, is the way her English friend Robin Douglas Home puts it. Then again, without any warning, she was deflating someone with devastating barbs for being such a spaniel as to treat her as the First Lady and deriding the pomp of politics, the snobbery of the social climber. But now, on their whistle-stop tour of Europe, Jackie suddenly appears formidable. The French take to her as one of their own. Born a Bouvier, she has French ancestry and she spent a year at the Sorbonne. She speaks fluent French and has arrived with a wardrobe of clothes specially designed for her by Givenchy. At a banquet at Versailles, President de Gaulle greets her by saying, "This evening, madame, you are looking like a Watteau." The political editor of Time reports that, thanks in large part to Jackie Kennedy at her prettiest, Kennedy charmed the old soldier into unprecedented flattering toasts and warm gestures of friendship. At a press conference, President Kennedy says, "I do not think it altogether inappropriate to introduce myself. I am the man who accompanied Jacqueline Kennedy to Paris, and I have enjoyed it." A few days later, after a stop in Vienna to see Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, they attend the christening of Jackie's niece, Tina. From there they go to an informal lunch with the Prime Minister and a number of friends and relations, including the Ormsby Gores and the Duke and Duchess of Devonshire. The Duchess, an old friend of the President, has mixed feelings about Jackie. "She is a queer fish. Her face is one of the oddest I ever saw. It is put together in a very wild way," the Duchess observes to her old friend Patrick Leigh Fermor. That evening the Kennedys attend a dinner at Buckingham Palace. It proves a minefield. The guest list has been the subject of negotiation. Traditionally, divorcees are not invited, so the Queen has been reluctant to welcome Jackie's sister, Princess Lee Radziwill, who is on her second marriage, or her husband, Prince Stanislaw Radziwill, who is on his third. Under pressure she relents, but, by way of retaliation, singularly fails to invite Princess Margaret or Princess Marina, both of whose names Jackie has put forward. Jackie's old paranoia returns. She sees it as a plot to do her down. Caving to the pressure, Queen Elizabeth II invited Jackie's sister and her husband, but it's been suggested she retaliated by excluding other people the First Lady wanted on the guest list. She failed to invite her sister, Princess Margaret, as well as Princess Marina. The Queen had her revenge, Jackie reportedly told Gore Vidal. No Princess Margaret, no Princess Marina, no one except every Commonwealth Minister of Agriculture they could find. Possibly there could have been tension already brewing between the two because of the guest list prior to their first in-person meeting. Jackie felt Queen Elizabeth II resented her. Jackie also tells Vidal that she found the Queen pretty heavy-going. When Vidal repeats this to Princess Margaret some years later, the Princess loyally explains, "But that's what she's there for." Over dinner, Jackie continues to feel awkward, even persecuted. "I think the Queen resented me. Philip was nice but nervous. One felt absolutely no relationship between them." The Queen asks Jackie about her visit to Canada. Jackie tells her how exhausting she found being on public view for hours on end. The Queen looked rather conspiratorial and said, "One gets crafty after a while and learns how to save oneself." According to Vidal, who is prone to impose his own thoughts on others, Jackie considers this the only time the Queen seems remotely human. After dinner, the Queen asks Jackie if she'd like to see some pictures. "Yes," says Jackie, she certainly would. The Queen takes her for a stroll down a long gallery in the palace. They stop in front of a Van Dyck. The Queen says that's a good horse. "Yes," agrees Jackie, "that is a good horse." From Jackie's account, this is the extent of their contact with one another, but others differ. Dinner at Buckingham Palace, writes Prime Minister Harold Macmillan in his diary that night, is very pleasant. Nine months later, Jackie pays another visit to the Queen at Buckingham Palace, this time by herself. She is more in the swing of things now. I don't think I should say anything about it except how grateful I am and how charming she was, she tells the television cameras as she makes her escape. That really happened. What's far less clear is whether a feud between Jackie and Queen Elizabeth II touched off a small-scale diplomatic tiff. Jackie didn't really say those nasty things about Elizabeth, did she? Well, sort of. Jackie Kennedy trashes the Queen as incurious, unintelligent and unremarkable, and dismisses Buckingham Palace as second-rate, dilapidated and sad. Ouch! That's quite a Yelp review. She also slams the palace as a tired institution without a place in the modern world, in case we didn't get the message. Queen Elizabeth II may not have liked Jackie because of negative comments she made. In real life, there is some evidence that Jacqueline Kennedy was critical of Buckingham Palace and the Queen, said Caroline Harris, a historian. She claimed that Jackie was unimpressed with the palace furnishings and the Queen's comparatively old-fashioned wardrobe and hairstyle during the 1961 visit. OK, so that's not exactly a compliment, and that leads us to our next question. Did an Elizabeth-Jackie rivalry really shape foreign policy? Almost definitely not. Elizabeth is jealous of the American First Lady, who wows world leaders with her charm, elegance and command of the French language, and so Foy's Elizabeth, eager to even the scales with Jackie, travels to the Commonwealth nation of Ghana to prove that she too is a major player on the world stage. It's a good conceit, if only it were true. There is no evidence that the Queen travelled to Ghana in the aftermath of a rivalry with Jackie O, Harris said. The Queen has taken her role as head of the Commonwealth seriously and undertaken Commonwealth tours. In other words, Her Majesty did not go on a high-stakes diplomatic odyssey just to get back at the First Lady. But that visit to Ghana went pretty well, right? That seems to be the case. There were security concerns regarding the Queen's visit to Ghana, but the tour was a success, said Harris. The real-life moment, Elizabeth danced with Prime Minister Kwame Nkrumah at a banquet thrown in her honour.